Hi, Eric Goll here. As 2025 draws to a close, I've been thinking about the over 500 incredible families my team and I have worked alongside this year to help them create a good life for their loved one with a customized life plan. And many of those families started the year in 2025 feeling overwhelmed, feeling exhausted, and feeling unsure if real change or a good life for their loved one was even possible. And here's what I saw. Not overnight miracles, but a steady, step-by-step, meaningful progress towards an awesome ordinary life that they've been dreaming of for their loved one, and more peace of mind. And this is the kind of meaningful progress that's within your reach for 2026 with your loved one and your family. By the end of this video, you're gonna understand the 4 keys for creating steady progress in 2026 with your loved one towards a good life, and principles that you can start applying right now to make this your best year yet. Key number 1, and this one's super powerful, it's to create a customized life plan for your loved one. This is the key piece that ties everything together, because here's the thing, if you don't know where you're headed, it's impossible to get there. Think about getting in the car and driving aimlessly. You don't know where you're gonna end up, but if you have the destination in mind, you have a more clear idea of where you need to drive, which roads to take, and how to get there. So the families who made the biggest progress this year in 2025 had a clear, positive vision for their loved one's future, plus specific goals and a step-by-step plan to get there. When we work with families, we create that customized life plan, specifically individualized for your loved one, and it helps you see the big picture. It gives you that North Star, that direction of where you're headed to. We help you break that down into realistic goals. Then those realistic 1-year goals that we set, we want to break those down into even smaller steps. That becomes your roadmap to get you to where you want to go. We then work on building in the right supports, and we stay focused on helping you to create that good life for your loved one. Without a plan, you drift. You get blown wherever the wind takes you. With a plan, you build. You make strategic progress toward your loved one's best life. Your loved one deserves a life filled with belonging, contribution, more independence, more meaning, more joy. A customized life plan is the roadmap that gets you there. So super important. If you want to get started on this right now, go ahead and download the free Life Planning 101 guide. You can do that just by clicking download below this video here. All right, let's go to key number 2 that I see families using to make a ton of progress, and that's persistence with intention. So I already know that you have a ton of persistence. It's a part of who you are. It's a part of your DNA. And it's a part of what becomes embodied within us if we have a family member with a developmental disability. You show up day after day, no matter how tired you are, but that persistence alone is not enough. What really moves forward is persistence with intention. Too often, we just fall into doing the same routines, pushing hard, but not seeing the results that we hope for. That's exactly what happens when we keep doing the same things without clear direction, without clear strategy. That persistence with intention means pausing long enough to ask, is what I'm truly doing moving us forward, or are we just staying busy doing the same things and getting by? It means being brave enough to say, we've hit a plateau, it's time to try something new. One mom I worked with realized she'd been helping her son with cleaning and cooking for 3 years, but not really teaching him and helping him to build those skills. So once she shifted from just doing to more coaching her son, he began making a ton of progress, making his own meals within a couple of months. Another family that I worked with took a deep look at their loved one's day program and realized it wasn't really building their loved one's skills or any more independence than they already had. So they started shifting small amounts of time from that group home into more community volunteering, into exploring work. And what happened then? Their loved one actually started gaining real skills. They got a volunteer role. They started to build more natural relationships. They built tangible things because there was higher expectations held of them in those ordinary places. So for 2026, the invitation is simple. Pause, assess, and move forward strategically. Sometimes that means learning new skills through a course or through a coach that can bring you new insight and positive options to the path that you actually want to go down. All right, that brings us to key number 3, which is patience, and patience at your loved one's pace. Okay, so patience doesn't mean waiting around. So I don't want to confuse this with you needing to wait for your loved one's good life. Patience means pacing goals that honor your loved one's learning style, energy, and with where your loved one's at. Families often want big, fast changes, like, okay, our loved one needs to move out, our loved one needs to get a job, they need to make friends. But when the timeline's too tight, or the timeline is your timeline, we can overwhelm our loved one. They resist, they shut down, and everyone ends up feeling defeated. So for example, the direction that you're headed and what you want for your loved one includes having their own apartment, and you want that to happen within 6 months. And then you start to map out the steps, and you're like, okay, my loved one needs to learn some self-care skills, and we need to put the right supports in place, and we need to find the apartment. It can start to become clear, well, okay, we're going to completely overwhelm our loved one in that 6-month timeline. So maybe we need to shift to a timeline that's actually more realistic for our loved one so we're not overwhelming them. And maybe that looks like a 2-year timeline with smaller milestones, or whatever that right timeline is for your loved one. And maybe you exceed that timeline, but it becomes more doable because we're not overwhelming our loved one in the process. So again, you need to run your own race. You need to align things with your loved one's pace. And remember, patience isn't passive, it's strategic pacing. So you want to celebrate all the small steps along the way. So whether it's learning that self-care skill, it's getting up in the morning, it's learning to make breakfast, it's learning safety of locking the door, it's learning how to ask for help. These are all moments where your loved one's building more skills, building more independence. And over time, when you look back month over month, year over year, you're going to see how far your loved one has come. When I look at my sister and her story, it's proof of this. Learning to live more independently took over 3 years. It was small steps. It was learning how to keep herself safe. It was learning how to ask for help, experiencing what it was like to be overnight by herself for even just half the night, maybe then a full night, learning routines, building confidence. And it was going at her pace, not my pace, not my parents' pace, at her pace. And today she's thriving because we honored her timeline and went with her. And when we overwhelmed her, we took a step back and went at her pace. All right, key number 4 that I see families using to make a ton of progress is what I call strategic positivity. Now, let's be honest, it's super easy to get pulled into the negative. It could be family conflicts. It could be your loved one taking 1 step forward, then 2 steps back because they forgot a skill. Or it could be not being able to access funding or setbacks. It could be a supporter quitting. Negativity can be this default, especially when you're tired or you're running low on energy. But if 2026 is going to be different for you and your family, I want to encourage you to take on strategic positivity. This isn't pretending that everything's perfect or looking at things through, rose-colored glasses. It's intentionally noticing what's working, even if it seems small. Our brains automatically scan for problems. It's our survival wiring. But for hope, action, and progress, we need to retrain our brain to start seeing the wins, even if they're very small, even if it's small steps. So research shows that parents who consistently notice those small steps forward help their loved ones build more skills and a stronger, better quality of life faster. So start simple. You can start this practice by just writing down 1 small win every day. You can write it down in a notebook, you could put it in a win jar, and when you're really struggling, and you're feeling the negativity, go to that win book, go to the win jar, look at all the wins on the small steps. It can help recenter yourself around the progress that is actually being made. And if you're really struggling with this and you're like, well, we're not making any progress, let's say that a task has 10 steps that your loved one needs to learn. Well, the win is just one of those 10 steps. Right? You're making small progress. A win could also look like you coaching your loved one on a task instead of doing it for them. Write that down. That's a win. It could be a family member engaging your loved one in a fun game and having positive connection between your loved one and that family member. So that's also a win. So when you start collecting those wins over months and over the year, you're going to see the transformation that daily life has been hiding from you, and you're going to be able to build on those positives. For my sister Sarah, those early wins were tiny. Getting herself out of bed in the morning, making a coffee. Those tiny wins added up over time to big change. And if you track them, if you write them down, it helps you see the progress even when it feels like progress is moving slow. So I invite you to join me here in 2026. I invite you to join me also in a life planning workshop so that I can help you make real progress faster. We can do this together to help your loved one build a good life, a safe and secure life, and a life where you have more peace of mind. So I've had the pleasure of helping over 1,000 families to make intentional, steady progress towards more safety, more independence, and a good life with their loved one through a customized life plan. I'd love to help you too. You can get started right away. If you haven't yet, I invite you to scroll down below and to download your free copy of the Life Planning 101 guide. You can do this. I'm in your corner. 2026 can be your best year yet. I'm Eric Goll. Together, let's take a small step forward.